Hello everyone, Ladislas Maurice from The Wandering Investor. So today we are in Singapore with Philippe and we shall be discussing the Singaporean permanent residency by investment, which is very niche. Philippe, how are you?
Very good, thank you. Happy to have you here in Singapore.
Fantastic. So Philippe, you are originally from Switzerland and you naturalized Singaporean, correct?
That's correct. I became a permanent resident in Singapore and 2 years later I became a citizen on my own application.
So we won't talk about the normal path to permanent residency, but we'll be talking about the one where you can get it essentially immediately through investment.
Correct.
And just so that we don't waste people's time, what's the minimum investments?
So if you apply for a permanent residence as an investor under the so-called Global Investor Program, you have two minimum amounts. One is the qualifying criteria. You must have an operating business with an annual turnover of 200 million Singapore dollar, which is roughly 140 million US dollar. In most cases, there is some other categories if you're a second generation business owner, but the amount is still about the same. So minimum amount for operating company that you own in order to be qualified for the program, about 140 million US. And then investment, three options. One is invest in an operating business, that's 10 million Singapore dollar, roughly 7 million US. Or you invest in investment funds that are approved by the Singapore government, 25 million Singapore dollar. Or you invest in a family office, manage your assets of no less than 200 million Singapore dollar. So quite substantial amounts, but it gives you a PR directly. You don't need to get an employment pass first, like most other people are doing it.
So obviously it's a lot of people with families that opt for such an option because of the quality of education, healthcare, safety, etc., tax rates, blah, blah. What is the processing time roughly?
The processing time depends individually and can be as little as maybe 3 months, but can go up to 1 year. Remember, the approval for these applications is purely discretionary. So you cannot say, like in the case of other programs, oh, I fulfill the criteria and I'm entitled to it. You are not entitled to anything in Singapore. You can apply, but whether you are granted or not depends ultimately on the authorities here in Singapore. And even if you meet all the criteria, they may still reject you and you basically don't have a chance to appeal that. So you have to be prepared. And the same later on at the citizenship stage.
Cool. So it's not a right.
It's not a right, absolutely. It's okay. You cannot force your way into Singapore like in some other countries.
Cool. All right. So it's a privilege.
That's right. It's a privilege. Other countries, if you have a clean criminal record, you meet all the criteria, you make the investments properly, you can sue the government if they don't issue, like in Portugal. But here in Singapore, there is no such thing. And the rejection rate, we don't know how high or how low it is because no statistics are public. But from what I hear in the market, there is a substantial number of applications which gets rejected. And also the total number of applications approved under the Global Investor Program tends to be relatively low. So we are talking about less than 200, 300 people a year.
Fantastic. So Philippe has a firm here in Singapore helping people obtain citizenships and residencies by investment. So if you're interested in exploring the Singaporean permanent residency by investment, there's a link below with more information, and you can also contact Philippe this way. Philippe, thank you very much.
Thank you. Ladislas.
Make sure to download my free ebook, 12 Mistakes to Avoid When Investing in International Real Estate, which you can find on my website, link below, and feel free to follow me on Instagram @TheWanderingInvestor. I look forward to hearing from you.